Have you ever pictured yourself living in a graveyard? Yeah, me neither. I read a story about Nobody, or Bod Owens, the boy who lives in the graveyard, calls ghosts his adopted parents, and feels safer in the graveyard than outside of its gates. The Graveyard Book is written by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Dave McKean. The Newbery Award is given yearly to the most distinguished American children's book. The Graveyard Book was given the Newbery Award in 2009 for being well written and aligning with literary standards. Another reason the Graveyard Book earned the Newbery Award is that the book's theme is compelling to readers in a real-world sense as well in a fantasy sense. Furthermore, fantasy elements in the story are truly convincing, consistent, well-developed, and they allow readers to set aside their disbelief of the supernatural element of the story as they follow Bod's graveyard childhood. A high sense of order and logic are maintained throughout the story. The genre of the Graveyard Book is low fantasy with supernatural element. The story is well grounded in reality, but maintains fantasy element of a supernatural nature. The characters are used to support the reader's believability of the story and its fantasy components. The plot maintains logic and consistency throughout its use of fantasy and supernatural element. The theme of the story is one that is believable in the way it integrates the fantasy and supernatural element of the graveyard life with traditional themes of community, family, and friendship that one might believe more easily found beyond the graveyard gates. As a toddler, Nobody, or Bod Owens wandered away from his home to the graveyard after his family was gruesomely murdered by a mysterious man that goes by the name of Jack. The graveyard spooks and spirits adopt the boy and guide him through childhood into adolescence. At first, the boy stays in the graveyard for fear that Jack will come closer to finding him and finish him off as he had finished off his whole family. The ancient inhabitants of the graveyard protect Bod from the evil man Jack. Jack meets a live human girl who he befriends. Eventually, with encouragement from his non-living friends, and one or two living friends, Nobody branches out beyond the graveyard gates. Read the Graveyard Book as you join Nobody Owens on his dark, curious endeavors. Meet a graveyard full of likable ghosts. Silas, who is not alive, but not exactly dead, the threatening Slayer creature, some flesh-eating ghouls, and many other strange friends and foes. You will not be disappointed.